sự thất bại, người thất bại.
Failure. Failure. Failure.
Definition 1. Lack of success in doing or achieving something. Definition 1. Lack of success in doing or achieving something. Examples. The success or failure of the plan depends on you. The success or failure of the plan depends on you. She is still coming to terms with the failure of her marriage. She is still coming to terms with the failure of her marriage. The attempt was doomed to failure. The attempt was doomed to failure. All my efforts ended in failure. All my efforts ended in failure. The problems of economic failure and increasing unemployment. The problems of economic failure and increasing unemployment. Their bid to win the contract resulted in abject failure. Their bid to win the contract resulted in abject failure. The decision to withdraw funding represents a failure of imagination. The decision to withdraw funding represents a failure of imagination. The intelligence failures that preceded the terrorist attacks. The intelligence failures that preceded the terrorist attacks. Definition 2. A person or thing that is not successful. Definition 2. A person or thing that is not successful. Examples. The whole thing was a complete failure. The whole thing was a complete failure. A team learns from experience, both successes and failures. A team learns from experience, both successes and failures. Failure is something he was a failure as a teacher. Failure is something he was a failure as a teacher. Her ideas were large. If she could not succeed, she would at least be a heroic failure. Her ideas were large. If she could not succeed, she would at least be a heroic failure. I felt like a complete failure. I felt like a complete failure. The film was one of the rare failures in his career. The film was one of the rare failures in his career. The venture proved a costly failure. The venture proved a costly failure. This breach constitutes a serious failure in performance. This breach constitutes a serious failure in performance. Definition 3. An act of not doing something, especially something that you are expected to do. Definition 3. An act of not doing something, especially something that you are expected to do. Examples. Failure to do something. Failure to comply with the regulations will result in prosecution. Failure to do something. Failure to comply with the regulations will result in prosecution. The city's failure to provide an efficient public transport system. The city's failure to provide an efficient public transport system. The government's failure to carry out reforms in the energy sector. The government's failure to carry out reforms in the energy sector. His confession followed repeated failures to appear in court. His confession followed repeated failures to appear in court. Failure of somebody, something to do something. The failure of the United Nations to maintain food supplies. Failure of somebody, something to do something. The failure of the United Nations to maintain food supplies. Failure by somebody, something to do something. A report on the failure by the police to protect her. Failure by somebody, something to do something. A report on the failure by the police to protect her. Nothing can excuse your failure to ask my permission. Nothing can excuse your failure to ask my permission. He lamented his failure to formulate a satisfactory theory. He lamented his failure to formulate a satisfactory theory. Definition 4. The state of not working correctly or as expected, an occasion when this happens. Definition 4. The state of not working correctly or as expected, an occasion when this happens. Examples. Patients suffering from heart, kidney, liver failure. Patients suffering from heart, kidney, liver failure. Renal, respiratory failure. Renal, respiratory failure. Production has been hampered by mechanical failure. Production has been hampered by mechanical failure. A power failure plunged everything into darkness. A power failure plunged everything into darkness. The cause of the crash was given as engine failure. The cause of the crash was given as engine failure. Pure maintenance caused the failure of 2 electricity generators. Pure maintenance caused the failure of 2 electricity generators. Patients with chronic renal failure. Patients with chronic renal failure. The commonest cause of acute liver failure. The commonest cause of acute liver failure.